The 1978 Philippine 1 Piso coin is a significant piece in the country's numismatic history. Let's explore its real and true history, covering its origin, design, composition, historical context, and importance to collectors. The 1 Piso coin issued in 1978 was part of the Ang Bagong Lipunan ABL coin series, which reflected the socio-political climate of the Philippines under President Ferdinand Marcos regime. This coin was not just currency, it symbolized an era of transformation and authoritarian governance. Ang Bagong Lipunan, or the New Society, was a political slogan and movement initiated by President Marcos during martial law 1972-1981. The coins from this period bore the inscription to promote the regime's narrative of reform and order. Coins like the 1 Piso 1978 were used as everyday propaganda tools. Portrait. The coin features José Rizal, the national hero of the Philippines, known for his role in the country's fight for independence. Republica ng Pilipinas, Republic of the Philippines at the top. José Acute Rizal below the portrait. The year 1978 is also prominently displayed. Design. The reverse side bears the Philippine coat of arms and the inscription, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, Central Bank of the Philippines. Words, Ang Bagong Lipunan surrounds the upper denomination. Large 1 Piso, prominently shown. Composition, copper-nickel cupronickel, which is durable and resistant to corrosion. The Philippines was under martial law, with President Marcos exerting full control. The New Society era pushed modernization, discipline, and infrastructure, but was also marked by human rights abuses and censorship. The coinage of this period, including the 1 Piso 1978, reflected nationalism, central control, and the regime's identity. The 1978 1 Piso coin was widely circulated and used in markets, jeepneys, sari-sari stores, and schools. It had real buying power, enough to purchase snacks, bus fare, or a school lunch. These coins were mass-produced, making them common in circulation at the time. However, uncirculated or proof versions are now harder to find and can fetch higher prices among collectors. Condition is key. A worn coin may only be worth Philippine peso 5, Philippine peso 10, but a mint state MS or brilliant, uncirculated coin can be worth Philippine peso 100, Philippine peso 300 or more. Proof coins and errors like misstrikes or double dies can command higher values in the thousands of pesos. Because of growing collector interest, some fakes exist. The phrase Ang Bagong Lipunan tells the story of a political period that reshaped Filipino society. This coin is used in classroom settings to teach students about martial law, coin design, and economic history. It's a gateway to discussing how money and politics intersect. The late 1980s and early 1990s, the central bank began replacing ABL coins with new designs after the fall of the Marcos regime in 1986. This makes the 1978 1 Piso coin a relic of a bygone political era. It represents a unique period of authoritarian governance. 1978, the Philippines was deep in the martial law period, declared by President Ferdinand Marcos in 1972. This was a time of authoritarian rule, suspension of civil liberties, and state control over media, institutions, and even the economy. The coin's design and slogan were tools to reflect the government's ideology. Ang Bagong Lipunan, the New Society, was the government's rebranding of the nation, aiming to show discipline, unity, and modernization. Marcos wanted to project the Philippines as a strong republic. Coins minted in this era, like the 1978 1 Piso, carried this political slogan to subtly promote loyalty and nationalism under his rule. José Rizal on the obverse was a strategic choice. Rizal symbolized intellectual reform, nonviolent resistance, and national pride. The government used Rizal's face not just as a tribute, but as a reminder of Filipino identity. Ironically, Rizal stood for liberty, while the government during 1978 limited freedoms. The late 1970s saw rising prices and foreign debt in the Philippines. The peso was weakening, and the economy was heavily dependent on loans from international lenders. Coins like the 1 Piso were being minted in large numbers, but inflation slowly reduced their actual value. The Central Bank of the Philippines, tasked with producing and regulating currency, pushed out millions of these 1 Piso coins. They used copper-nickel because it was a cost-effective metal and lasted longer in circulation. The quality and consistency of coin minting during the Marcos era were considered relatively strong. 1978, 1 piso was a high-value coin. With just 1 piso, you could buy a GP ride for 550 centimos, get a local meal like rice and a side dish. Purchase a pack of candy, bread, or snacks. The 1 piso coin was part of everyday life used by students, vendors, workers, and farmers alike. Every feature of the coin was symbolic. Rizal's face represented intellect and freedom. The coat of arms stood for sovereignty. Ang Bagong Lipunan implied order and discipline. Together, they reinforced a state-driven identity, blending nationalism and control. The Philippines, having been an American colony, 1898 to 1946, inherited many coin-making traditions. The size, metal use, and minting standards of the 1978 1 piso resembled U.S. coinage in quality and production style. This coin was minted domestically using updated machines modeled after U.S. designs. While the government promoted Ang Bagong Lipunan, many Filipinos resisted silently. Artists, students, and activists saw these coins as symbols of repression. For some, spending the 1 piso coin with Marcos' slogan was a painful reminder of lost freedoms. The 1980s and 1990s, as martial law ended, coins like the 19781 piso were kept by teachers and historians to teach young students about. Several Philippine museums, like the Bangko Central Coin Gallery, feature the 19781 piso coin as part of displays on the Marcos era. Coin evolution. The 1978 1 piso coin traces its roots to earlier reforms. In 1967, the Philippines replaced English on coins with Filipino, marking a push for national identity. This continued into the 1970s. Thus, coins like the 1978 1 piso emphasized Filipino language, heroes, and slogans like Ang Bagong Lipunan, reinforcing local identity under a strong centralized state. During the 1970s, President Marcos focused on infrastructure projects, bridges, roads, hospitals, and schools. The government needed physical money for salaries, public services, and spending. The 1 piso coin became one of the most minted denominations, used in paying wages and public contracts. While the government showed development, it also enforced strict censorship, curfews, and military checkpoints. The Ang Bagong Lipunan slogan on the coin was meant to suggest national unity, but many Filipinos saw it as a mask for dictatorship. The coin silently witnessed the disappearances, arrests, and military rule of the time. The Philippine economy in 1978 was controlled by a few elite families close to Marcos. The peso was artificially pegged, and the government borrowed billions. The coin system, especially mass-produced denominations, like the 1 piso, helped fuel a fragile monetary illusion. People had coins in their pockets, but the economy was heavily in debt. The 1 piso coin also played a role in the black market economy. With inflation rising and political tension growing, Filipinos began trading goods informally, avoiding taxes. The 1 piso coin was often used in underground markets, barter trades, and side hustles in urban and rural areas. The 1978 1 piso coins were minted by the Bangko Central ng Pilipinas Mint, which had upgraded its facilities in the 1970s. Minting was done using hydraulic presses, and quality control was strict. However, due to high demand, some era coins slipped into circulation. These include, even with its political overtones, the coin helped reinforce Filipino culture. The use of José Rizal, a Filipino-speaking hero, and the Filipino language inscriptions like Republica ng Pilipinas signaled a move away from colonial influence. It gave Filipinos pride in using local language currency in their daily lives. State-run radio and newspapers regularly reminded citizens about Ang Bagong Lipunan. The 1 piso coin was sometimes used in radio jingles and TV announcements to symbolize the power of reform, discipline, and nationalism. Although these messages were often met with silent resistance. In the early 1980s, the Philippines suffered a peso crisis. Foreign debt reached over $20 billion, and confidence in the economy collapsed. Although the 1 piso coin was still in use, its value declined, and coins became more of a symbolic currency than an economic tool. Many elderly Filipinos today remember the 19781 piso as the coin of their childhood or youth. It represents struggles, stories, and survival. People associate it with memories of martial law curfews. Thank you for watching.